I proceeded to scream at the top of my lungs, realized all of my windows were down, and I was at a stoplight. So everyone was looking at me, but I did not care. Hello, honeys. I'm finally doing it. Hello, and welcome to the Ivy League Tea. We have finally hit YouTube, and I could not be more excited. You guys have been asking for this for many, many years, and now we finally made it happen. Those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Kelsey. I graduated from Harvard in 2021 after getting into every single college I applied to, and ever since then has made it my mission to help all of you ambitious high schoolers and some middle schoolers to prepare yourselves to have the same insane college admissions results. I've been making content for you lovely people on TikTok and Instagram for many years now, but I've always wanted to start a YouTube. And guys, I think it is becoming necessary that we do this, and here is why. As this process becomes more and more competitive every year, it is becoming a lot more difficult to help you with 30 seconds, 60 seconds of do this one thing, or here are 3 tips for your essay opener, or whatever. I think what is becoming apparent is the actual stories and the actual lifestyle that you have to lead to become someone who is a quality enough applicant to gain an acceptance to schools like these. It's an everyday kind of thing. It's a process. And here on the Ivy League Tea podcast, we are diving deep into that process to see what it really takes. So today I am going to start by diving deep into my own admissions process, my own high school experience, and how I became the kind of person these schools were looking for. And hopefully you can take these qualities and apply them to your life so that you can also become that type of applicant. But guys, what I'm really excited about with this podcast is I will be dropping weekly episodes interviewing current Harvard students. I am back here living at Harvard. If you follow me on Instagram, you know this. And so I am surrounded by current Harvard students who are dying to share with you guys what it actually took them to get in. And guys, these people have backgrounds from literally all around the world and the country. And wherever you are from, whatever materials or resources you're starting with, I hope to bring on students that have something that you can relate to and learn from. So without further ado, grab a pen and paper to take some notes, and also grab your favorite mug. Guys, I'm obsessed with my Harvard Honey mug. Isn't this the best? This is about to be some Ivy League tea. I want to share with you guys on this episode the most insane day of my entire life, the day that I got into Harvard, which was actually before Ivy Day because they called me early for something called a likely letter. I will explain all of that, but every time I post it on TikTok or Instagram, it gets like hundreds of thousands of views. So it's a pretty good story, I have to say. But in order for the story to make sense, I have to start with some context. I am from a very small town in the south of the United States, and I went to a pretty small high school, only 72 kids in my class, and nobody even applied to schools outside of the state, much less Ivies that were like thousands of miles away. The concept of wanting to go to one just blew everyone's mind. However, my parents are doctors, and as such, I've always had this like inkling in my brain that like maybe I'll become a doctor, even though they were very much like, do whatever you want. In fact, sometimes discouraged me from being a doctor because they knew how hard being a doctor was. But somehow subconsciously, my model of success was being a physician. So because I knew that that was a possibility for my career, I knew that I would need to go to a pretty decent college to have a chance at getting into any medical school in the US. And I know a lot of you guys watching have that dream of going to medical school and being a doctor. And I'm here to tell you the best thing you can do is get into a top-ranked undergraduate college. And where you go to college really matters for these medical schools because they want to take kids from good colleges to make their medical school look better. And because I was pretty good at high school, which I can get into my stats and stuff, I was dreaming a little bit bigger and was encouraged by like a few teachers here and there or a few mentors in my life that like, hey, Kelsey, you know, you can apply to these like sub 3-4% acceptance rate schools. Like you have a chance out of anyone that we've met or had at our school. I totally maxed out my high school, which is a big thing I tell you guys, right? So I took all of the AP classes I possibly was allowed to, got 4s and 5s on those exams. I took the hardest class schedule I possibly could and got the best grades in those classes. I won every class award for the best grade every single year. I was a starter on the varsity volleyball team, the varsity soccer team. I was a captain of the math team and the academic team and all of the other nerdy clubs at my school, and did other really insane things like played violin competitively and even got the best all-around senior award for like the city that I was living in. So I knew that if anyone had a chance, yeah, it was probably me. However, I was self-aware enough to understand that these statistics are still insane, you guys. For instance, an acceptance rate at Harvard or Yale, which is about 3% every single year, when you're looking at those applicants, maybe 100 applicants, for instance, about 80 of them have all those things. They've taken the hardest classes at their school. They've gotten the best grades in those classes. They have some awesome passion projects. They have great teacher recommendations. That's 80 out of 100. But how many get in? Like 3, like not even 3, like 2 or 3. Okay. So going from that 80 to that 2 or 3 is what I realized I needed to figure out how to do, and told me that's fine, but hey, let's focus on these schools that like everyone else gets into, and sure, throw your ring in the hat for that, but like it never works. So don't get your hopes up, babe. That was the vibe. So as one naturally does, I went to my friendly guidance counselor at my high school, and guys, it's not that she was a bad person. She meant well. She just had no context and no background in getting kids into these schools. In fact, the idea of strategy, I don't think really played a big role in her guidance. And so when I mentioned I want to go to these schools, she kind of just looked at me and laughed. And I knew that that wasn't going to be good enough for me. So I think I kind of let her discouraging interaction with me fuel my need to go do my own research and to chart my own path. And I really did that, guys. I started reading books, which back in 2015, 16, we didn't have a ton of internet stuff. So in this realm, books were really the biggest resource. So I read the books, but I also did hit the internet of what there was. And oh my gosh, I found this incredible YouTuber, which really I owe all of this to, because she inspired me so much. She was a current student at Harvard, and she had posted her Common App essay, which is why I might be posting my Common App essay in my next video. Go check it out. It might already be up. I don't know. I was awestruck. I was so inspired by this girl and like what she had accomplished, and her essay was beautiful. And I was just like, if she can do this, I can do this, and got to work. And y'all, when I finally got in, which we'll get to that story, I commented on her video, and I just, between thousands of comments, and I said, hey, just want to let you know, like, you inspired me so much, and I just got into Harvard. She responded, and it was the best day of my life. Like, truly, I was so flattered that she responded, even years after she had posted that video, and gave me all of these pointers about Harvard, and I just felt like the queen of the universe. Like, I just felt so honored, and like full circle reflected on these accomplishments, and like felt like anything was possible. Truly, getting into Harvard makes you feel like the world is actually your oyster and anything is possible. And that's what I want you guys to feel like, and that's why we're here. So back to my college admissions process. I really did my research and found out a couple things and really practiced what I've been preaching to you guys online for years, which is got some good mentors. Y'all, I got a CEO of a biomedical engineering company and a chief of surgery at a hospital to get in my corner. I shadowed them. I did projects with them. They wrote me recommendation letters. And that, I think, really helped to boost my profile. I started doing passion projects. In fact, my common application essay, which I will be reading to you guys, was on something that I had started my freshman year as a passion project. And Ivy Leagues ate this up. I made sure that my SAT and my ACT were stellar. In fact, my super scored SAT was higher than the Harvard average, which I knew would give me a better shot. So it takes work, but these are the actual things that matter. Another big thing I did research on was early decision versus early action. And I really found some interesting data on this that proved that that is not advantageous, that this process is not advantageous for someone who doesn't have any other connections to the school. It is really geared towards legacies and children of faculty, etc. So I did not apply early. I applied regular decision January 1st to UNC Chapel Hill, Harvard, Duke, Vanderbilt, Dartmouth, and Cornell. And you guys, I kid you not, I wrote my big supplemental essay for Harvard. They had like one no word limit essay, optional. Of course, if something's optional, you should do it the night before it was due, which I still think is crazy. Anyway, I sat back and I waited. It was January and I had to make it till Ivy Day that year, which I believe was March 31st. And I was so nervous, you guys. So flipping nervous. And I knew these odds were against me, even with all the work that I had done, even with the good student that I was, that I prayed every day. I was just like, God, please, if I could just get into one of these amazing schools that I applied to, just one of them, that would be all I need. That would set me up forever. That would make me the happiest person. Like, please, my life would just be made if I got into one. Finally, March rolls around. I'm kind of trudging through life and I'm playing varsity soccer. I'm driving home from practice one day, March 8th, 2017, and I get a call on my cell phone while I'm driving. It is from Cambridge, Massachusetts. And I was like, where is that? I was like, I haven't heard of Cambridge, but it sounds fancy. Is that where Harvard is? I don't know. Probably not. Whatever. I'll answer it. And I have to admit, I usually don't answer unknown numbers. So really serendipitous that I ended up answering this. I answered the phone and it was a guy and he was like, hi, is this Kelsey? And I was like, yeah, this is she. This is me. Yes. And he was like, oh, like this is so-and-so from Harvard. And I was like, I still get like really excited thinking about it. And I was like, okay, crap. First of all, I'm driving. I should have not been driving for this. Second of all, thank God I answered this call. And then I thought they must be calling me to test me on my speaking skills. And like, if I have poise and if I am like eloquent over the phone, like this must be a test. And I straightened up and I tried to be like really proper and be like, and I was like, oh, hi, like, how are you? And he was like, oh, how are you? You know, how was your day? Like, where are you? What are you doing? Blah, blah. Just really trying to make small talk. And I was so confused. Like, this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened. And finally, as I'm stumbling over my words, he's just like, hey, I'm just calling to tell you that you're going to be admitted on Ivy Day on March 31st. And you're part of this cohort we call a likely letter that we call early and let you know that you'll be admitted. So hopefully you get excited about it and you tell your friends and then you end up coming to us because we really want you. I thought it was a prank. I have to say, I did think it was a prank. I immediately asked for his name. I was like, wait, what did you say your name was? And I like mentally took notes so that I could look it up and make sure this wasn't a prank. Once I knew his name and I felt like he was not lying to me, the definition of speechless, I literally could not fathom how to respond to that. I still wanted proof though. So I was like, is there going to be an email? He was like, don't worry, there'll be an email coming into your inbox tonight. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Hung up the phone. I proceeded to scream at the top of my lungs, realized all of my windows were down and I was at a stoplight. So everyone was looking at me, but I did not care. And it was in that moment that I like wanted to get home so bad. I was like, I am the only person in the world that knows this information right now. And I need to share it immediately. So I didn't even listen to music. I just sped my way. I was about 10 minutes away from home, ran down to my mom's office where she was working and just started screeching. I was crying. I was jumping. She did not believe me. She thought I had been pranked. And I said, I promise you, this is not a drill. This is not a prank. An email is coming. Let's look for it. Refreshing my email. Finally, the email came and then she believed me. Y'all, best freaking day of my entire life. I want all of you to have this moment, to have this breakthrough of just seeing all of your efforts in life for your entire life come to fruition in this beautiful way. It was unreal. It's to this day the best day of my life. Now, as a 26-year-old looking back and just seeing how that moment, that event had a ripple effect on the rest of my college career and truly the best days of my life, the best era of my life of going through college and meeting my best friends in the entire world, my heart is just like overflowing with gratitude. And that right there, my friends, is why I do this. And it is why I know that wherever you are located, whatever your background is, whatever schools your high school sends kids to, whatever colleges your high school does or does not send kids to, this is possible for you. And I want you to believe that. And I know that together we can achieve that. After that, I ended up getting into every single one of the other colleges that I said that I applied to. Some I actually got into early as well. And then some I got into on Ivy Day. Not only did I get in, I also got some scholarships for those schools. Like, it was just the best season of my entire life. So I'm here to partner with you guys. If you want to have that experience, if you want to have that breakthrough moment, hit subscribe and hang out with me, because that is literally my mission right now, is to help you do that for yourself. I am posting very shortly my Christmas gift to you, which is my entire common application essay. I know you guys are writing those right now. After that, I'm going to get into some rich conversations with real active Harvard students, going into where they're from, why they think they got in, and how you can use that to enhance your odds in your application. Thanks for joining me on my very first podcast episode ever. If you're still here, I love you. Good luck, honeys.